Imagine a single line of code, written by just one person, that could bring the entire internet to its knees. This isn't a scene from a Hollywood blockbuster with a shadowy hacker in a hoodie. This is the true story of a real-life coder whose choices sent shockwaves through our digital world. It's a chilling look at just how fragile our connected reality is and the hidden vulnerabilities lurking just beneath the surface of the internet's backbone. What if the internet, the very fabric of our modern lives, was fundamentally flawed? What if one individual, armed with enough knowledge and audacity, could exploit those flaws and unleash chaos on a global scale? We're about to dive deep into the untold story of a coder who did just that, exposing the terrifying truth about how easily our digital infrastructure can be disrupted. You're watching this video right now, connected to the internet. But have you ever stopped to think about how vulnerable that connection truly is? We're about to unveil the astonishing true story of a coder who, through a series of audacious acts, didn't just hack a website, they shook the very foundation of the internet, leaving a trail of disruption that echoes even today. To understand this story, we first need to talk about the internet's plumbing. It's not a cloud. It's a vast physical network of cables, servers, and routers. And at its heart is a system called the Border Gateway Protocol, or BGP. Think of BGP as the internet's postal service. It decides the best routes for data to travel from one point to another. When you type in a website, BGP tells your request how to get there. It's a system built on trust. Each network operator announces the addresses they control, and other networks trust that information to be true. But what happens when that trust is broken? What happens when someone lies to the postal service? This is where our story begins, on February 24, 2008. Users across the globe suddenly found they couldn't access YouTube. It wasn't just slow, it was gone. The website, which was already a giant, had vanished from the internet. The initial assumption was that YouTube's servers were down, but the reality was far more bizarre and far more alarming. The problem wasn't with YouTube, it was with the internet itself. The source of the chaos was traced back to Pakistan. The Pakistani government had ordered its telecom authority to block access to YouTube within the country due to a controversial video. This was a common practice. Typically, a country's internet service providers would simply block their own users from reaching the site. But this time, something went horribly wrong. Instead of just blocking the site internally, Pakistan Telecom accidentally announced to the entire world that they were the fastest, most direct route to YouTube. They essentially told the global internet postal service, "Hey, if you want to send mail to YouTube, send it to us." Because of how BGP works, always looking for the most specific, shortest path, networks around the world started believing this false announcement. They updated their digital maps and began sending all YouTube-bound traffic straight into a black hole within Pakistan's network. The traffic went in, but it never came out. For 2 agonizing hours, YouTube was effectively erased from the internet for the vast majority of its users. The team at YouTube and engineers at other major network providers scrambled to figure out what was happening. It was a digital detective story played out in real time. They had to trace the source of this malicious route announcement. Using network monitoring tools, they followed the digital breadcrumbs back to Pakistan Telecom. The fix was, in theory, simple. Get them to stop making the announcement. But that involved phone calls, international coordination, and a lot of pressure. While the outage only lasted 2 hours, the implications were massive. This single event, caused by a local ISP implementing a government order, demonstrated a catastrophic flaw in the internet's core architecture. It showed that one misconfigured router in one country could hijack traffic meant for a global service and cause a worldwide outage. It wasn't a sophisticated cyber attack, it was a blunder. A colossal, internet-breaking blunder. This wasn't just a one-off incident. This type of mistake is called BGP hijacking, and it has happened many times since, sometimes by accident, and sometimes with malicious intent. In 2018, a similar incident occurred when a Nigerian ISP accidentally redirected a huge chunk of Google's traffic, causing widespread outages. More sinisterly, attackers have used BGP hijacking to steal cryptocurrency by redirecting users to fake wallet websites. They hijack the address of a legitimate service, and for a short period, they become that service, capturing passwords, financial information, and more. The 2008 YouTube incident served as a massive wake-up call for the entire networking community. It highlighted that the Internet's foundation of trust was also its greatest weakness. Since then, there have been efforts to make BGP more secure. One of the main solutions is a framework called Resource Public Key Infrastructure, or RPKI. In simple terms, RPKI is like adding a digital signature to those BGP announcements. It allows network owners to create a cryptographically signed record that says, "I am the real owner of these internet addresses." When another network sees an announcement, it can check this signature to verify its authenticity. If RPKI had been widely adopted in 2008, the Pakistan Telecom announcement would have been immediately identified as invalid and ignored by other networks. YouTube would have never gone down. The problem is, adopting these new security measures is slow, complex, and requires cooperation from thousands of independent network operators all over the world. It's like trying to upgrade every single local post office in the world to a new, more secure system simultaneously. It's a huge undertaking. As of today, adoption is growing, but it's far from universal. Many networks still operate on the old system of trust, leaving the internet vulnerable to the same kind of incident that knocked YouTube offline over a decade ago. The story of the coder, or more accurately, the network engineer who broke the internet, is a powerful reminder. It shows us that the global network we depend on for communication, commerce, and connection is a complex, man-made system with deep-seated vulnerabilities. The person who typed that fateful command probably had no idea it would cause a global incident. They were just following orders. But it demonstrates the immense power and responsibility held by the people who manage the internet as unseen infrastructure. A few keystrokes can have cascading consequences that affect millions or even billions of people. So the next time you browse a website, stream a video, or send a message, remember the invisible, fragile web of trust that makes it all possible. The internet's backbone is stronger than it was in 2008, but the race between building a more secure network and those who would exploit its weaknesses, by accident or by design, is far from over. The quiet work of network engineers around the world is what keeps our digital lives online, constantly fighting to patch the cracks in the internet's foundation. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden world of technology. Let me know in the comments what you think about the internet's vulnerabilities. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video.